coming up in my early days, I was very much a fighter. You know, in spiritual circles, we like to talk about being a spiritual warrior, but I was a straight out street fighter. That's really it. And I really wanted to change that behavior. And although I was a great spiritual practitioner, devotion was my whole life. I was a walking, talking Bible. I just basically memorized it, and I understood it, but I still had not been able to master my own emotions, and that's where meditation helped me. When I got to the place that I no longer had to be afraid of myself, that I would act in some sort of way that I would come to regret just 5 minutes later, then I knew I was on the right path, and that's what meditation has done for me. It has allowed me to take my what was my warring attitude and fighting the world, fighting what's out there, and I am able to go inside and I see my own fear, or I see my own insecurity, or I see my own ignorance, or I see my own hatred, I see my own lust, I see my own greed, and I am able to neutralize it inside. And when that happens, then what I see outside changes. It's different. And this is how meditation has made such an impact, in my life. For once, I'm not telling you what you should do, but I'm looking at what I need to do to have different eyes through which to see. It is powerful. The Buddha Dharma is powerful. That's all I can say, and just getting to that place, in the beginning, we need to rely. I mean, even when we, take refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha, there's this notion of a reliance, but it's not a forever reliance. It's a reliance in the beginning to give you some confidence that something is propping you up. But as you go through the process, then you learn to be a lamp unto your own feet and a light unto your own path. And you learn that everything that you need is resident, is available within. I think that when I was first introduced to meditation, I had such a difficult time with it. I mean, I was told to just sit there for half an hour and let whatever happened. And mostly I was bored, and I was like, well, I don't think this is going to be for me. But then I found over the 30 days that something opened up inside. There was an inner light that really shone. And I'm talking about a truly a luminous light. It was a light, not a play on words. It was an inner light. And that's when I realized that this was the doorway to something more than what we than the words that we ascribe to it. And that's why the Buddha says it has to be directly apprehended. And that was my first exposure. For me now, at this point in my life, meditation is more like a state that you are in based on the preparatory work you've done. And so when the Buddha talks about meditating when you're walking, when you're standing, when you're lying down, and when you're sitting, he's basically talking about 24/7 being in a certain state all the time. And so we're doing some external preliminary practices, but the object is not just to do those practices, but what that practice yields, which is getting into a certain mental state that allows you to be perched sort of like at a pinnacle where you can look out and you can survey the land and you can understand exactly what is occurring at this moment and what should be my contribution to making the present moment better. And so my meditation practice now is very different than when I started. I did a lot of meditating, a lot of sitting. But now to have 5 minutes here, to have 1 minute there is like an hour. To take an hour is like 5 minutes. It's all the same, and it's interchangeable for me. So I think some Zen master said we should be able to sit in the middle of a freeway and meditate, and that is so true, because once you know, it's like taking a trip to the store. After you've done it enough times, you know how to get there, and you can just instantly get there and be in that space.